So I would like to show you how you need to conduct the interview. First, you need to clarify the unit of analysis. Ask the interviewee to choose only one. So if this is about alignment and this is about CIO and CEO relationship, you would ask him, okay, this is one company and this is the CIO and this is the CEO. We want to just talk about this. I don't want to talk about the previous CIOs, only about this. So the interviewer need to select only one unit of analysis in the past. This is very important because sometimes these interviews, they give you different ideas about different unit of analysis. So, and you try to ask all questions, that means get scores for a construct for only that unit of analysis. So if it's about the unit of analysis, a project, you would have the interviewee to give you a name for that project. Let's call it ING project 1. And then everything that every score that you're giving me must be about that construct. And there shouldn't be a question about the second unit of analysis because this is another interview. Then, so this is the first question. The second question is about including or excluding criteria. You ask about the case, you ask about the interviewee's years of being in the department to make sure that he is right or not. If he's not the right one, just ask 1 or 2 or 3 questions and then finish the interview. Then you need to ask questions about your theory. First, you need to create a scale. Even in a questionnaire, you have to do that. For quality, we have a scale like this. For agreement, like this. For frequency, something like that. You always start with the dependent variable. You ask the interviewee to give you a score from 1 to 7, 1 to 5, high or low, whatever, to the dependent variable. And then you ask why he provided that or she provided that score. As soon as 4 is given, ask the interview, why not giving the 3 points? What happened? What's wrong there? And you are hopeful that he or she provides some of these antecedents without you getting a score for them. Okay, if it's an exploratory case study, you have no idea about this. So you only need to ask about the dependent variable that you're interested in. If it's, then you can ask what was good about this? Then, hopefully you get some of these constructs and hopefully you find some missing constructs that are not provided here. Even in an explanatory case study, you try to find missing constructs. Of course, not a lot of them, but some of them. And this is the #1 issue that I see in our thesis that would, I guess, degrade the thesis from the best thesis perhaps to the worst thesis that that can happen. In the interviews with the interviewee provide general statements like this. They use usually present tense. This is how they would talk. The DLT context does not fit the way organizations organize their process nowadays. So this interviewee, he does not talk about that unit of analysis that he has information with. He talks about all unit of analysis, all organizations, all DLTs. This is his opinion. We don't care about their opinions, okay? We care about facts. That interviewee needs to provide information about what he has knowledge about, what she has knowledge about. So he or she can say the DLT does not fit the way our firm organizes its processes. And it's always better to have the interview to talk in past tense. We introduced the DLT to our manager, but he hated that. He said that. So when he or she, the interview, uses past tense, you're sure that he talks about one unit of analysis and about something that really happened, not something about future or not some general statement about all cases. We don't care about them, them. You can ask them, but don't quote them in your thesis. Don't provide these, general statement and opinions there. When they say general statements, hear them, get ideas, but don't count on them for scientific decisions. So another, sometimes the issue is you, because you as the interviewer ask the wrong question. You ask the person, you can ask the person, what is the influence of X on Y? Choose between no influence, weak influence, and strong influence. Keep that in mind. You don't ask about arrows. You only ask about constructs. You have them give scores for constructs, not for arrows. If you ask about arrows, you get their opinions. We don't care about their opinions. I guess, if I were the second reader, I would give you a score of maximum 6.5, even if everything else would be, great. So you have to ask about attributes of unit of analysis, about X and Y, and they have to provide a value of 0, low, medium, high, a number, anything related to X, and another thing about Y. Then you make the decision as the scientific, scholar. You would say that, okay, X was high, Y was low, the hypothesis is confirmed. So keep that in mind. And then you ask so after asking all these questions about the constructs, you need to find data triangulation sources. Ask them to get existing documents about those scores that are given. Ask if other persons can be interviewed other than this person. So try to find other sources of data. And then after you have done everything, you need to create a case report and send it to the interview. So you provide the case info, interview one's info, transcription of the interviews, interview 2 if he agrees to share his data with interview 1, transcription, the secondary data document that you have found. Then you assume that this is the only case that you have, and you check if the theory is supported or not supported. So you need to provide all those data analysis tables, or list of relationship, list of constructs, score for constructs here in one case. So everything related to one case should be in this case report. You send this case report to the interviewee, and then you ask if anything is missing, anything should be changed. And that's all. Then the interview is done. Okay, we have another case here. What's wrong with this? What's wrong with the measurement in this thesis? What's wrong here? Exactly. He asked about the relationship and the strength of the causal relationship between the two constructs. So but he should have asked only about this construct. But even here, inter-organizational policy agreements, this is a little bit difficult to assign a high or low value for an interviewee. So this should be also a little bit changed, this factor. Good job. How about this exercise? What's your answer to these questions? Which one is a correct research question? You see here, the problem is that the question in A tries to get opinions of the people, the interviewees. The research question says, how can we motivate financial companies to use cloud? So the research question forces you to have questions in the interview that is related to this. In reality, the question should have been how cloud providers motivate financial companies use cloud. So at the moment or in the past, how did these cloud providers motivated financial companies to use cloud? Or here it says how to design a chatbot. So the thing is that you can have these questions. It's not a problem as long as you say that I am doing a design science study. I'm going to gather requirements. But if you call it an exploratory case study, explanatory case study, then this should be about facts, not opinions, about what happened, not what should happen or what would happen in future. Okay. Another question. A company hires you as an intern to do your thesis there. They want you to check the effect of possible investment in big data analytics on their organization. What is the first question you should ask? So this is the first question. Do you have data? Do you have access to completed or failed big data analytic projects? If they say no, you would say that, okay, if you don't have data about them, it would be difficult to do them. Do you want to gather requirements of this big data analytics? If they say yes, you can go for a design science study. But if they don't even know what requirements, what kind of applications they want, or there is no data on any big data analytic projects, so you don't have any facts. You have to gather opinions, and we don't care about opinions. Keep that in mind. Unless we want to design something for these people. If you want to design something for them, then you can gather their opinions. That is another story. Okay. You are designing an interview guide for the following theory developed based on the literature. You are using a hybrid case study, explanatory on the right and exploratory on the left. Which question should be asked in what order? What question would you ask? What is your first question in the interview? Find the unit of analysis, huh? Choose a project about an audit project in your mind. Let's give it a name. My next question are going to be about that project. Okay, this is question one. What is question two? The second question would be if that project fulfill the inclusion exclusion criteria, if that person is eligible to answer questions about that project. So that would be your second question. And the third question is that first you define audit agility according to the literature. So whenever you have explanatory case study, you define the construct first, and then you ask for a score from 1 to 7 or 1 to 6 based on the scale that you provided. If, for example, it provide 4, you would ask why you deducted 3. Why, what happened, what was good that led to 4. You try to figure out other antecedents of audit agility with the fourth question. Then you define leanness, get a value for that. For example, 6, you ask why deduct 1. What was good that that you gave a score of 6. You try to figure out the antecedents of leanness. You do the same for collaboration and responsiveness. Try to find the antecedents of these constructs. Let me see if there are no questions.